Money, Money, Money Budget Special.
Welcome back. Here with this budget special on Money, 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 and we are in conversation with Parizad Sarwala and Anshu Kapoor. So, Anshu, you mentioned a couple of interesting investment avenues like REITs. There are REITs, there are alternate investment funds. And I want to get your sense on what needs to be done to channelize some more money into them if the government is serious about actually promoting these asset classes or investment categories. What are the taxation anomalies right now that are preventing a real takeoff?
So let's talk about REITs. Largely, it is around transfer of assets from a developer to a SPV or a fund. So largely the anomaly has been around that, which makes it prohibitively expensive for the REIT investor. So if that can be taken care of, our estimate is REITs alone can absorb about $8 to $10 billion of capital every year in this country, and this could be a big push to the real estate sector.
Okay.
And institutions, long-term savings could be channelized into this asset class.
Okay.
The other category that has picked up of late is the AIF category. This is likely to become a preferred category of investments by FPIs. So you could attract foreign capital into it. You could also attract a lot of domestic capital, which is ultra high net worth or high net worth investors coming in. Again, the category 3 in AIF, it taxes the investor at the maximum marginal rate, even though it could be a long only equity investment.
Okay.
So it is
so there's
not
no benefit of not getting, not being having to pay long-term capital gains tax. That benefit doesn't exist.
It's not at par.
Parizad, just coming back to the point of putting more money in the hands of people, one of the big announcements in last year's budget was NPS and the additional 50,000 investment that could go there and the deduction that you could enjoy on it. Are you expecting that limit to go up? And in terms of, the tax, as Anshu mentioned, it's EET right now. Would an EEE make a substantial difference in the manner in which this is picking up?
Yeah, so definitely. So, I'm not expecting the limit to go up because, again, it was, increased last year. There was a special carve-out last year itself. But there have been a lot of recommendations by the pension fund regulator as well to give it an equal status with some of the other retirers, like say a PPF or a PF, which is an exempt tax regime, and currently NPS is exempt tax regime.
So you're taxed when you're actually
so you're not taxed on the year of contribution, or the accretion is not taxable, but when it matures and you withdraw the amount, at that time it's taxable. Also, I think the 7th Pay Commission led by A.K. Mathur had also recommended it to be EEE. And so definitely that should hopefully bring the clarity, not the limits. Plus, last year in the budget speech, Mr. JAITLEY had announced that he would soon come up with a scheme where the employees could contribute or choose opt between EPF and NPS, and that cabinet note is still pending for any amendment in the Provident Fund Act. So, considering all these aspects, there should be the clarity around the EEE regime, but maybe not the limits.
Let's now talk about housing, because if the government is looking to spur demand and is looking to spur the infrastructure and the real estate sectors, and housing is an important component. A lot of talk on low-income housing. So, Anshu, let me start with you, and you mentioned this earlier as well. So, what are your expectations for the sector?
On the investor side or the buyer side, you could enhance the limits that are available from a taxation perspective, from a tax exemption perspective.
So, Parizad, let me come to you on that. I mean, enhancing the current limit, which is I think around 2 lakhs, is the kind of exemption that you get on the interest that's paid out. Where is there some scope, or what is it that would perhaps make more sense?
Yeah. So again, if you see the real estate cost, and every individual aspires to have a dream home, right? From an individual tax perspective, if you see the metropolitan cities in India, I mean, 2 lakhs, the only deduction that you get if you have, and most of individuals will have a house on mortgage. So currently it's a 2 lakh interest on housing loan deduction limit, which also, for an under construction property, the possession should be given, or it should be completed construction in 3 years. And from a principal loan repayment, it's again crowded under the ATC limit overall of 1,50,000, which has already got so many other segments of investment. So there is a need definitely to have either some special carve out for individuals from a housing perspective, whether it's the interest of the principal loan, whether it really happens. I mean, this demand comes up every year, and there's a lot of expectation from the real estate sector as well. Again, if you see from a rent perspective, and a lot of young people would perhaps opt for staying in rented accommodations, particularly in a city like Bombay, where the cost of buying a house is really high. While salaried class gets HRA from the employer and they can claim certain exemptions towards rent paid. The current provisions are that for a non-salaried, if it's a business professional staying in a rented apartment, he or she gets only 2,000 rupees per month as a rent exemption. So
no HRA benefits,
so that limit has also been untouched for years now. So there is merit. We have to wait and see.
Let's see if he does it or not. We'll take another quick break on that note. But on the other side, certain other asset classes where individuals do invest in. We heard a lot on gold in last year's budget. Has that scheme taken off? Is there more taxation change required around gold? We'll talk about that on the other side.
Money, money, money. Budget special.